Hello. Welcome back to Life After Plus One. I'm Leanne, your podcast host and your single parent mentor and coach. And today I want to talk about overcompensating in relationships. Have you just broken up with someone, or you've been with a partner previously and you felt like you did everything for them and they didn't appreciate it? You bent over backwards, you changed your whole schedule, you did everything to try and please them, and you can't understand why it didn't work. So today I want to talk about that topic of overcompensating in relationships to try and make it work, and how it can have a negative impact on your relationship.
Welcome to the Life After Plus One podcast, where we turn life's lemons into delightful lemonade. Get ready for inspiring stories, uplifting conversations, and all the tips and tricks to rock your single parent journey with style. I'm your host, Leanne, and it's time to embrace the adventure of Life After Plus One. So let's dive in.
Okay, so let's talk about overcompensating. And some people may just think, no, I don't overcompensate. I'm just a nice person. I'm just doing the right thing. So today I want to talk about, are you overcompensating in your relationships as a way to try and keep them hanging around longer, or to try and make them like you more, but you just think you're just being nice? We're going to look at that. How do you tell the difference? Are you just being a good partner, or are you doing things to try and force the relationship to work, which ends up in the relationship not working, and it's left you confused and unsure why? I don't get it. I did so much for them. So quite often when you're in that place of doing these things, or you're in a position where you're wanting the relationship to work and you're bending over backwards to do these things for this person, you don't realize in that moment that this is what you're doing. You just think that you're being nice and you're being a good boyfriend or girlfriend or wife or husband, whatever position you're in. You just think you're just trying to do the right thing. Now, you need to understand that when you're overcompensating, is there a reason behind it? Are you doing it to get them to acknowledge you, to get them to notice you, and to get them to see that you're a good person? Is it fear of abandonment? So you're doing all these really nice things and you're buying all these good things for them. And it's not necessarily about buying things and spending money. It's about doing things that makes them happy. And are you doing this as a way to try and make the relationship work, and a way to encourage them to want to stay? In fear of the relationship falling apart, you're doing all these things because you want it to work out. You're just secretly hoping that this is the one and you want it to work out. So you're doing anything and everything you can to make it work, without realizing that you're overcompensating. You're doing too much to try and please them, and you're neglecting yourself. And then when the relationship fails, you're left thinking, but I did so much for them. I did everything they wanted. I changed my schedule. I changed meeting up with my friends. I did everything for them, and they've just gone and left me. I don't understand why. Well, to understand if you were overcompensating or not, you need to step back and look at it. Is there a balance on the giving and the receiving side? Or is it you constantly giving more than the other person? Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong in buying gifts. I'm not saying there's anything wrong in changing your plans to accommodate the other person and compromising. There's nothing wrong with that. That's part of a relationship. But when it's a constant one person doing more for the other person, that's an imbalance. And are you doing that for all the wrong reasons? Are you doing it just to avoid a fight? Are you doing it to try keep them happy? Are you doing it to make the relationship work because you're scared of being alone? That's overcompensating in a relationship. And these are the kinds of things that people do, and that leave you wondering at the end of it, but I did everything for them. Why did they leave? Because that's not what makes a relationship work. A relationship is based on genuine connection, values, communication, emotional support. When you're in a position where you're overcompensating, when you're doing all these things to try and please someone, you're neglecting the basic needs of a relationship, because you're just doing everything you can to make it work. You're doing everything you can to look like the good partner and to make them want to stay with you. So the basic needs of a relationship, like your communication and your values and your common goals and the emotional support in a relationship, all of these things get neglected because you're too busy trying to overcompensate with other areas, trying to please them. So your needs are not getting met because you're too busy focusing on their needs. And then you're left wondering, why didn't the relationship work? Because your relationship wasn't based on the main points of what makes a relationship work. Now, like I just touched on, it is totally fine to give things for your partner, to do things for your partner, to change plans, to compromise, to do things to make them happy. That's what you want. But it's important to understand the difference between a healthy sacrifice and overextending yourself that compromises your boundaries. This could be something as minor as just insisting on cooking for them every night because they work hard and you feel like you need to do it, even though you work just as hard and they never offered to do it for you. Well, you're constantly going out of your way to buy them things, anything at all. You're just constantly going out of your way to do stuff for them when they're not doing it for you. They're not reciprocating. That is overcompensating. If you're feeling like you're doing things that make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, your boundaries are being crossed and you're like, I'm not sure if I want to do this, or I really don't want to cancel my plans because they want to do something, but I don't want to make them unhappy. I don't want to start a fight. You're overcompensating yourself to try and please them. A healthy relationship is about being with a partner that is understanding and respectful of you and your schedule, not someone that makes you feel guilty where you have to keep changing things to suit them, or you have to keep doing things to make them happy, or if you're having to keep buying things to keep the peace and to make them happy because you feel like that's going to make the relationship work. That's not a healthy relationship. If you're doing things and they're asking you to do something and you're feeling like your boundaries are being crossed, but you're just going to do it to keep the peace because you don't want to fight, then there's no communication in that relationship, because you need to be able to communicate with your partner when you're doing something you don't like, when you're not comfortable with something, or when you've already got plans and you can't commit to what they're asking you to. You've got to say, hey, thanks for the offer, but I can't make that one, but let's make it on another night, or let's do something else. You've got to be able to communicate with your partner instead of just giving up on things and sacrificing things in your life to please one other person. And when it all goes to the shit, you're left wondering, what the fuck just happened? I've just done so much for this person and they've just gone and left me. Because there was no substance to the relationship. And I know that may sound really horrible and nasty, but you need to have communication in a relationship. And if you're feeling like you have to keep changing your plans, even though you don't want to, but you're too scared to talk to your partner, is that a healthy relationship? Now, if that is you and you're in that position, maybe it's time to step back and step out of the dating world and maybe go back to the episode where I talk about healthy communication and look at what you can do different, because it's so important to be with a partner where you can communicate these things and you're not doing things that crosses your boundaries and that makes you feel uncomfortable just to please them. Because that's not what a relationship is about. A relationship is an equal balance on both parties. And when it gets off and there's more coming from one side than there is the other, then it's time to have a good chat. Or it's time for you to step back and make it a balance, because that's what it's about. And now it doesn't have to be equal 50-50 every single day. Like it's not a competition. Kind of goes up and down in waves. It doesn't have to be consistent 50-50 every single day. There could be days where it's 90-10. There could be days where it's 70-30. There could be days that it's 50-50. But it's still a balance. It goes up and down. But when it's constantly 80-20 or 90-10 and it doesn't go the other way around, then it's time to step back and ask yourself, what's going on here? Why am I doing all the giving? Why am I doing all the sacrificing? Why am I doing so much for this person and they're not giving back to me? Being there for the other partner and your time, your energy, listening to them, support. You may listen to them when they need it, but they're not there to listen to you when you need it. You may be there to give support or a hug when they need it, but they're not there for you when you need it. That's the balance that you need. It's about everything, about giving that support, about listening, about having that respect, about being there for you as a partner. It's got to be balanced, and you've got to get it equally from each other. And if it's not like that in your relationship, then ask yourself, why are you still here? And is there anything you can do to change this situation? Can you sit down and have a talk to them and let them know how you feel? And if you think that's beyond redemption, or if you think that's beyond being repaired, then is that relationship for you? But if you have been in a relationship where this was the scenario, where you stepped out of it and gone, what the fuck just happened when I did so much? This is your time to look at yourself, because you don't need to overcompensate for a partner to make yourself look valuable to them. You don't need to prove your worth to anybody. So stop wondering why the relationship didn't work when you're giving. Because a relationship shouldn't be about proving your point and proving your worth and proving who you are. A good partner would see that in you. And if they're not seeing it and you're feeling like you're constantly having to prove who you are and prove you're a good partner, then why are you with them? And please also remember that giving everything to another person or to your partner and overextending what you can do, it doesn't give you relationship security. And it's a quite common thing. People give and they think, oh yeah, they'll like me more. You know, I'm a good partner because I do this. I'm a good partner because I do that. But overextending yourself does not guarantee relationship security. It just ends up you being even more so heartbroken when or if the relationship ends. You have feelings, your feelings are valid, and you need to have your self-worth on track and know that, no, I don't have to keep giving to prove to somebody I'm a good person. If it's to the point where you've been together a while and it's just you and they're not reciprocating anything at all, the respect, the support, the listening, the giving, the changing of the schedules to compromise for each other, then it's time to reflect on, why am I constantly giving for this person when they're not giving for me? And also, when you overcompensate for someone else, you end up being codependent. You're neglecting your needs as a way to try and meet theirs. And you end up starting to believe that your worth is determined by how much you can give. And then you put yourself in a position where you think, I can't live without this person. I need this person. You become so dependent on them to the point where you freak out and you panic about the fact of ever breaking up or ever being single. Now, one thing I always say in this podcast and many different episodes, being single is not a bad thing. And there are so many people out there, they are scared of being single. They really freak out and they panic. Don't go jumping into another relationship because you've just broken up with someone and you don't know how to cope with being single. You're just going to take the last emotional baggage from that last relationship into the new one and drag this new partner through all your mess. But that's a whole other topic here. But if you're at a place where you've lost your value and your self-worth and you're so dependent on your partner to make you feel valuable and to make you feel important, then you need to step back and get your self-worth on check, because this one person does not define your value. They do not define your worth. And if they thought you were valuable and if they really saw your worth, then they wouldn't expect you to keep sacrificing your schedule or keep going out of your way to do things for them or constantly change your plans and to revolve your life around them. A good partner wouldn't do that. They would see where you're coming from. They would see the position you're in and they would see it makes you uncomfortable. And hey, no, it's a two-way street. So if you're in a relationship where you're doing this and you're so dependent on proving who you are to this person, then please start to remember that you are just as important as this person that you're dating or married to. No one person is better than the other. Maybe they have a job and they earn more money, or there's something about them that you put them on a higher pedestal than where you're at. No one is better than you. No one is above anyone else. We are all here on an equal playing field. And we're all here just living life the best we possibly can. So don't feel you need to have to force your value or your worth onto someone else. Don't feel you need to force how good you are and get them to really see your true colors, or to get them to see how good of a person you are. Because really, when you started dating at the start, they should see that. They should know how good of a person you are. And if they don't see that, then why are they with you? If you're feeling the need to force your worth onto somebody or force them to see how good of a person you are, then does that mean that you don't think that they see how valuable you are? Do you think that maybe they don't think that you are good enough? And if you do think that, you are with someone who doesn't think that you are good enough, then why are you with this person? You don't want to have to keep forcing yourself onto somebody. You don't want to have to keep forcing who you are as a person, or forcing someone to like you or to see the good in you. When you get to a place in a relationship where you're constantly forcing something, it only ends up in resentment, which is why a lot of the times when relationships are like this, where people are constantly doing for one person and it's not being reciprocated, those relationships never end up working because, as I mentioned earlier, there's none of those values related to what makes a relationship work. None of that's happening in those relationships because all those needs are being ignored because you're too busy trying to prove how good of a person you are. And then the second part of that, the resentment builds because they feel resentment towards you because they feel like you're constantly forcing yourself onto them. And then you start to feel resentment onto them because you're feeling like you have to keep explaining yourself to them. You keep having to prove yourself to them. This is a downward spiral that you do not want to be on. If you have seen yourself in a relationship that's gone in this direction, or if you're in one now, then please step back and reflect on yourself. Because you are worth so much more than to have to be in a relationship with someone where you have to prove your worth to someone who is no better than you. No one is better than you. Okay, please don't ever forget that. Now, what we do need to remember here, that building a relationship is built on trust. It's built on respect. It's built on connection and shared goals, not overcompensating to prove your worth. So if you're constantly overcompensating and constantly doing things for this other person, your needs in this relationship are not going to get met. So it is such a common thing to see going around when people say, I gave this person so much and they ended up leaving me. They ended up breaking up and now I don't understand what I did wrong. Please understand that a relationship isn't just about giving and doing for one person. It's an equal balance on both sides. Okay? It's about having respect. It's about having good communication between you both. It's about having some shared goals, some shared interests, an emotional connection. Not about just doing things for them because you're scared of being alone. You're scared of being single. You're scared of them leaving you. Well, do you know what? Worst case scenario. What would happen if that relationship did end? What would happen? Is that the end of your world? Is your life over? Now, quite commonly for some people, they do feel like it is. When their relationship ends, they do feel like their life is over. And it can get like that, especially if you've been in a long-term relationship or a marriage and you've been together for 10, 20, 30 years and you've got kids together. It can feel like that because now doing life on your own it's very foreign. It's learning how to live again. How do you learn to do life on your own when you've been with a partner pretty much all your life and you've got kids together? How the fuck do you manage? So it can get extremely overwhelming and scary. But it is quite normal to not notice these behaviors when you're actually in the relationship. It's not until afterwards, when the relationship has ended, where you can look back on yourself or on the relationship as a whole and you can see, yeah, okay, fuck, I was doing that. I was doing that. I was just giving them everything they wanted on a silver platter. My needs were not being met, and I've left miserable because they left me, but I wasn't even happy in the relationship because I wasn't getting what I wanted. So if that is you, don't be hard on yourself because you're not alone. It's quite common to do that. Everyone in this world just wants to be loved. Everyone just wants that special someone to love them and give them the attention that they deserve. And that's totally granted. We all want that. So don't be hard on yourself if that was you or if it is you now as we speak. Don't be hard on yourself. But as I always say, if you have noticed these behaviors in yourself, this is your time to learn from it. This is your time to do something better, which is what I'm always preaching in these podcasts about learning from your past and doing something better and being a better version of yourself when you go into your next relationship. So if you were doing that in your past relationship and you're left thinking, fuck, what happened? Why did they leave me? Now you can look back at it and go, okay, I get it. I tried to make them stay. I tried to make them see how good I was. Next time I meet someone, I'm not doing that. They need to respect me and love me for who I am. And if they're not going to, then they're not right for me. And that all comes with learning your self-worth. That all comes with learning to put your needs as a priority and not let your boundaries be crossed. And the best way to do that is take some time being single. Take some time on your own. And a lot of people are scared to do this. And when I say take some time on your own, I don't mean take some time on your own and then sit in the dating world or on the dating apps and chat to all these random people. Take some time on your own and yes, still socialize with friends, still get out and do stuff, but focus on living your life where you're not dependent on somebody. You don't have to be at a certain place because that's where someone else has asked you to be, or you don't have to be at dinner at a set time, or you don't have to have dinner cooked at a set time, or you don't have to do this on the weekend because that's what they did. You can just live your life without a strict schedule, and well, maybe it is a strict schedule because you've got kids, but you can still have full control of your life and do it the way you want. And that is the best way to get confidence and build your self-worth. Because when you meet someone new and they come into your life and they're like, oh no, we can't do this. How about we change it to this day? And you turn around and say, no, actually, that day is booked for me. I can't do that. How about we do this? Whereas before you might have gone, yeah, sure, let's do that. And then you got off the phone thinking, fuck, now I've got the shits because I've got to change these plans, because you're too scared to speak up because you wanted to try and impress them. You wanted to try show them how nice of a person you are. Now, it's great to be a nice person, but not when your boundaries are being ignored, not when you're sacrificing your needs as a way to meet theirs. It's got to be a mutual thing. It's got to go both ways. So take some time out. Take some time for yourself and live life on your own. Now, I'm not saying to never date again or never meet a partner. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it is a great way to learn your self-worth and to learn your self-confidence when you're out in the world on your own and you're not dependent on someone. You can step back and look at what lights you up. You can step back and look at what you enjoy doing. You can step back and go, you know what? I thought that relationship was great in the moment, but now I'm out of it. I actually can see that this and this was really shit. So when I meet a new partner, I want someone that's got this, and this. It's a great opportunity for you to reflect and look back on what went wrong and what you can do different. Now, I'm not saying to sit there and journal or meditate because not everyone's into that stuff. Just do what works for you, even if it's just sitting down and you can sit, have a glass of wine at night and go, okay, and you can just think about it. Okay, it's not about doing some woo-woo stuff that not everybody's into. It's about just looking back on what went wrong. And as grown-ass adults, that's the best thing that we can do to help us move forward in a more positive way. And because our kids model our behavior. So when our kids see us standing up for ourselves and putting boundaries in place and not being a pushover, the kids will see that and they will start to display those behaviors. Because quite often parents see kids behave certain ways. They're like, oh, why are they doing this? Why don't they speak up when this is happening? Or why don't they speak up when that's happening? Are you as a parent speaking up? if they don't see you speak up and they don't see you have self-worth and they don't see you have boundaries, then they're not going to do it because they don't see it happening from their own parent. And they're not taught, they're not seeing that from anywhere else. Kids model the behavior of what they see in their parents. So if you're not liking your behaviors in a relationship or how your relationships keep unfolding, then look back on what you can do differently and how you can change that. So if you've been caught up in a relationship where you have overcompensated yourself to try and impress your partner, it's time to put a stop to that. Because I can guarantee you now a relationship will never last if it's based on one person just constantly trying to impress the other person. It won't last because, as I mentioned, it's either going to end up where the other person has resentment towards you because you're constantly getting pushy and needy of them and you're constantly in their face about things and overcompensating and it's just overkill with everything. And they're going to end up resenting you and they're going to end up feeling suffocated and it gets too much. And then you'll end up having resentment towards them because they're not respectful of you. They're not appreciating what you're doing and you're just doing too much to the point that they get the shits. So don't ever feel like you need to do something to force a partner to stay in your life. And as I said, don't feel like this is me saying you do not have to do anything for your partner at all. No, that's not what I'm saying. I am saying don't do it if it's constantly just you. If there's an imbalance on this, if it's all just coming from one side and it's not being reciprocated from the other partner. If you're doing it to prove your worth to this person. Maybe you've had a fight and you're worried they're going to leave you, so you go buy them gifts, you go buy them special things to make them like you. That's overcompensating. You don't want someone to stay with you just because you've bought them a gift. You want someone to stay with you because they like you for who you are. And they realize, you know what? It's a relationship. We're all humans. We all fuck up at times and they need to be respectful of that and go, okay, everyone fucks up. What can we do to make this work? Not a gift. A gift is not going to make someone stay with you and it's definitely not going to make a relationship work. Gifts don't bring you relationship security. Overcompensating and constantly giving does not give you relationship security. If you want to be in a relationship with someone where you feel like there's longevity, you feel like it's going to work, you want that, then start having a good communication level with them. Start being comfortable to talk about anything and everything. Have those deep and meaningful conversations. Have that level of respect towards each other. So if they say something you don't like or you say something they don't like, it's not the end of the world. You can say, okay, that's their opinion, that's fine. You don't have to agree on everything. You have that level of respect. They support you when you need it. You support them when they need it. They've had a shit day at work and they just want to come home and vent and just talk about their boss and everything that happened. Be there to listen and support them and vice versa. That's how you make a relationship work. If you've had a fight with someone, don't feel the need to run to the shops and buy them a present and turn up at the door and go, here, I'm sorry. No, turn up on the door and say, okay, I am sorry. You can say that if it's something that you've done. What can we do to make this work? What can I do differently? That's the best thing. If it's something that you've done, which has caused them to get the shits and storm off, which I don't agree with that anyway, but if that's what they've done, what can I do differently? I'm really sorry. I don't want this to happen. What can I do differently? Don't feel the need to constantly buy gifts to make someone stay in your life. Don't feel the need to constantly do things like mother them or parent them. Don't feel the need to do this. You're not someone else's, you haven't taken on an extra child is what I'm trying to say here. This is your partner, not a child. So don't treat them like one. Don't force them to stay in your life because you made a fuck up. We all make fuck ups. I can tell you now, I've made lots of them. That's part of life and that's all part of being human. Stop overcompensating. So please, if you're looking to make someone like you more, or if you're in a position where your relationship has just ended and you're like, why? I don't get it. Because a relationship is not built on one person constantly giving. It's built on all those other things that I've discussed: respect, trust, communication, emotional support, emotional connection. That's how you make a relationship work. So if you're wondering why it didn't, did your relationship have all of those things? Did it have the support? Did it have the communication? Did it have the connection? Did it have the trust and respect? I can guarantee you now, if it had all those things, you wouldn't be separated. They would not be your ex. So there was something there that was lacking. So if you're currently in a relationship like this as we speak, please don't feel the need to just go out and break up with this person because of what I've just said. It is a perfect opportunity to look back and go, okay, I need to start making this relationship work because it's not going to work the way it's going. Use this opportunity to learn and maybe go have a nice chat with them. Go and talk to them. Make sure you are both on the same page. And it's always important to remember, if they're not someone that likes to have a chat with you, if they're not someone that's willing to communicate with you, if they're not someone that's willing to resolve problems together with you, then ask yourself this question. Is this someone that you want to be in a relationship with? Do you want to be in a relationship with someone that doesn't want to talk and doesn't want to resolve problems and doesn't want to support each other and grow together? Do you want a relationship with someone like that? That's something you need to think about. So that's just a bit on that topic of overcompensating and forcing yourself onto someone else, or forcing someone else to like you, forcing someone else to see the good in you. We all have good in us, but sometimes we don't always show it in the best way. But the best way to show that you are a good person is just by talking. Talk to them and let them see. Be vulnerable. Let down that wall and let them see the authentic you. That is the best way to make a relationship work. Not by forcing yourself onto them, not by gift giving, not by overcompensating and overstepping your boundaries to do things just to please them when your needs are not being met. It's a two-way street. Relationships are two-way streets. So that's about it from me. I really hope you did get something from this episode because, like I said, it is a big thing. I see it a lot. You get people that have just lost their confidence, people have lost their self-worth, and they just get attached to a particular person and they do anything and everything to make the relationship work. And in their minds, they're doing the right thing. They just want it to work and they don't see that they're doing anything wrong. And you're not doing anything wrong. You're not a bad person by doing it because you're wanting the relationship to work. But sadly, you're wanting it to work for the wrong reasons. You're wanting it to work because you just want someone to see that you're a good person. You're wanting it to work because you're just scared of being alone and you're scared of them leaving you. Find your worth, because a real healthy relationship and a good partner would see that, and you don't have to force yourself onto someone, and you don't have to force someone to like you or to see the good in you. So thank you again. And guys, if you have any further questions on this topic, or if you want to ask me any questions at all related to single parenting, then shoot me a message. I'm more than open to hear from you guys. I'm even happy to answer your question on the podcast so everyone can hear the question and answer. I won't say your name if you don't want it said. So send me your questions. You can shoot it through to my Instagram page at Life After Plus One, or you can just jump onto my website, lifeafterplusone.com, and you can just shoot me a message through to my contact page there, or you can even book a chat with me if you're wanting to talk further about anything that I discussed today or anything from any of the previous episodes. If you're struggling on your single parent journey and you need that extra support, then guys, let's chat. That's what I'm here for. And I do also still have all those ebooks available on my website, which are also a great support. If you're just wanting that extra support when you're at home, it is a lot cheaper cost, and you can just use it whenever you have time, and you don't have to have the pressure of having to speak to someone. So that's all available there. Oh, and I just want to throw it out there, guys. So for anyone that's not listening locally, I do Zoom chat. So if you do want to speak to me and you think, oh, fuck, I can't get to her, she's not near me, we chat over Zoom. We can do a Zoom chat. We can do a phone call chat. We can chat how you want, because I want to help you. And that's my job. So thank you again, everyone. And that's about it from me today, guys. And please don't forget to share the show with your single parent friends. If you've got any friends that are having problems in their marriage and they're looking to break up and they're scared, they're nervous, they don't know what to do, they don't know how to go forward, send them the show. Refer them onto the show. If you've got friends that are single and they're having their problems co-parenting, then get them onto the Life After Plus One show. Get them this support, which is what they need. So thank you, everyone. And thank you all for coming back week after week. And until next week, I'll be in your ears then.
Thank you for joining us on the Life After Plus One podcast. If you loved what you heard today and looking for some further support, then jump onto our website, lifeafterplusone.com. Plus, don't forget to check out our Instagram page for further resources and inspo. You can find all the links in the show notes. And remember, you're not alone on this path. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. And in the meantime, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep exploring your amazing life after plus one.